The controversy at Cambridge involving Harvard University professor Henry Louis Gates begins with two different versions of events, Gates's version and the police version. The question is whether what happened to Gates was motivated by race or just a run-of-the-mill confrontation that got out of hand.
I think that what went wrong personally was that you had two human beings that were reacting to a set of circumstances, and unfortunately at the time cooler heads did not prevail.
What seems clear is that Gates, a 58-year-old man who walks with a cane, had been out of the country on business and returned home here with a chauffeur. The front door was jammed, so he and the driver went round through the back, then returned here to try to force it. A woman in the neighborhood saw what was going on and mistook it for a crime in progress, calling police, reporting two African-American men with backpacks trying to force their way in. By the time police arrived here, Gates was already inside. This is where the stories start to differ just a bit. At the front door, the officer asked Gates for proof that he lived here. He started walking through the house toward the kitchen where his wallet was. The police officer followed him. Gates's lawyer says Gates provided the officer with both his driver's license as well as his university ID. The police report says Gates became belligerent, though he eventually gave the officer his university ID. That officer, who's white, said Gates accused him of being a racist. According to the police report, when the officer asked Gates to step outside, Gates said, "Yeah, I'll speak with your mama outside." Gates's lawyer, Harvard law professor Charles Ogletree, confirms Gates used some strong language.
Professor Gates said, the question here was, why are you doing this? Because I'm a black man and you're a white police officer. Why is this happening to me? I live here.
Gates was arrested and spent several hours in police custody before posting $40 bond on a disorderly conduct charge. He's well known in the neighborhood, and there are a lot of different opinions, some supporting the police.
I'd be glad if somebody called the police if somebody was breaking into my house.
But some blaming the police.
I don't know that it's necessarily typical, but it's certainly something that occurs with too great a greater frequency.
An old debate about race and the police playing out on the academic high ground of one of the nation's top universities. Joe John, CNN, Cambridge, Massachusetts.